Sir John A. Macdonald wanted to build a railway from one end of the country to the other. The only problem with that was that Sir John A. Macdonald didn't have enough workers. So he got 15,000 Chinese laborers to come over to Canada to build a railway. Chinese wanted to work for the railway so they can live in Canada away from all the rules in China. During the immigration in 1885, the Canadian government forced each member of the family to pay a $50 head tax. In 2008, this amount would buy goods worth $1,100. The Chinese came over, then went to work for the Canadians to get paid so that their family could come over to Canada. The Chinese had to do dangerous work like blowing through mountains with dynamite and nitro while they're inside, so they had to run out before they got blown up themselves. The Canadians would have to give money to the Chinese so that the Canadians wouldn't get hurt or die when work needed to be done. The Chinese workers dropped from 8,000 in 1882 to 124 in 1887. The Chinese wanted some extra money, so he or she would have to go in the mine shaft and go in with nitro and light the fuse. The Chinese would do a lot of dangerous work, not including the work they do to get their wives and, if so, kids to come over to Canada. The Canadian Charter keeps human rights from being abused, and the Chinese had it bad back then, but now it's better. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms keeps Canada from collapsing on itself and having a civil war. What happened back then could not happen now because of the Charter. It's like a barrier that protects us from being mentally destroyed. The Chinese were not allowed to enter when we used the country as you wished. When the Chinese wanted to leave Canada, they would have to talk to the Canadians. They would have to pay a $50 fee to leave. The Chinese didn't have the rights of other Canadians. Equality rights were violated for the Chinese just because they were Chinese, and that was racist. Any Chinese had no equal rights, and they weren't thought of Canadians. Because there were no charter, the rights of the Canadians were violated, and the Chinese had no rights to be a Canadian. As you can see, Chinese were not respected back then, but now we have the Charter, so it is fair for all Canadians.